Side FM.
What is going on, everybody? This is your friendly neighborhood coach, and this is the next installment of the locker room. Man, listen, I got a lot to talk to y'all about today. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Cavaliers and a couple things that I want to touch on. Number one, they played today, but they had a game against Toronto in Cleveland that was an absolute atrocity, and we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about the emergence of Craig Porter Jr. and Tyrese Proctor and the rookie class on the Cavaliers. We're going to talk some Cleveland Browns. They play the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow. Not looking forward to that one, but we'll discuss that a little bit. We'll also talk about when will Shedeur Sanders play? Okay, when will he play? Then we're going to get into a little bit of hodgepodge here and there. All right. But then at the end, I want to talk a little bit about Kevin Stefanski. And the teaser that I have for you guys is this. Does Kevin Stefanski really care about what you guys are thinking? Does it really matter to him what you guys are thinking? So here we go. Welcome to the next installment.
Why have you brought us here?
All of you are my ultimate
of the
weapon.
locker room. Let's go.
Yo. A design for disaster. From the mind of the master. Plot thicker than encyclopedias with unlimited chapters. Face like I play poker, so you get no hints of the takeover. We here to bulldoze the slave owners. Call us insidious, cause we reject the silliness and refuse to participate in your game of idiots. I'm so annoyed by the trashy. More flashy than the paparazzi. I avoid with flashing they Polaroids. I'm not your hero. Light up the signal. You SOL, I'm busy. Sipping my Tito's in the casino. Go ahead.
Yes, this is the locker room, and this is your friendly neighborhood coach, and we are here talking about Cleveland sports. Y'all know who I am, Cleveland born, Cleveland bred. I'm going to be one till the Lord take me away from this earth. But let's get into it. Let's not waste no time. You know what I mean? If you have not and is not or are not, I know my English teacher might be mad at me for saying that. But if you have not subscribed to the locker room, then I don't know what you're waiting on. You need to go ahead and subscribe to the locker room. Subscribe, like, comment, share, agree, disagree, whatever it may be. All right. Listen, my motto has always been this, and it's going to always be this. You may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen. I am a proud 1/3 member of 3 The Hard Way. We come on, we record on Mondays. No, we record on Sundays, and then you'll see us on Monday. Okay, it's just 3 Cleveland boys talking about Cleveland sports. But this here is my platform. This is where I can get a little bit in depth, and I can say what I say. I mean, it's not like that. I don't say what I say on other platforms, but I can say what I say here. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. The Cleveland Browns. Yes, I'm going to start out with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know why, but I am. They play the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow at Cleveland Stadium at 5:30 Eastern Standard. Was it 5 o'clock? I think they got the late game. I think they play Baltimore in the late game, which I don't know why the NFL scheduled this trashy team on the late game. They come out and they're going to bring Dillon Gabriel out, y'all. I didn't listen to all the Cleveland media this week talk about Dillon Gabriel. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Dillon Gabriel fan. Never was a fan. Wasn't a fan when they drafted him. Didn't make sense. I watched Dillon Gabriel play at Oregon against Ohio State, and that showed me enough. Okay, Ohio State suffocated him, and Oregon had a pretty decent line. So he had faults back then. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of Dillon Gabriel. Okay, however, the line in front of him is atrocious. Other than Judkins, there's really no, there's really no offensive threat. Okay. People asked this week, did Tommy Rees, did you see a difference with Tommy Rees? There was a slight difference with Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees understood that when it came to Dillon Gabriel, he had to roll him out. He understood that. And so there was some rollouts. But if you want to talk about Dillon Gabriel, let's talk about his incredible inaccuracy. Okay. When you look at the all 22, there was 2 of the 6 sacks that he took was all his fault. Had nothing to do with the line being bad. It was him. Okay. 1, he couldn't see over the line of scrimmage. He still can't see over the line of scrimmage. But a lot of the balls that he was throwing, I would say, honestly, he had his eyes closed when he was throwing them. Okay. But it's not all on him. All right. They made a conscious effort to give Jerry Jeudy the ball. What kills me about Cleveland media right now is they applauded Jerry Jeudy for having, I think, 6 catches. Really? Okay. So no, I wasn't impressed at all by the Browns offense. Is the Browns offense going to be any better this week? I doubt it. I I don't see where Dillon Gabriel is going to turn around and become the next coming of Steve Young in a week. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Kevin Stefanski, once again, making excuses, but I'm not going to get into him right now. He'll be on my rant later. Okay. We talked about last week, Paul D. Podesta leaving. He had a press conference and, talking about some things with not Shedeur Sanders, but with Deshaun Watson. Listen, that Deshaun Watson ship has sailed. I heard so many people talking about, Deshaun Watson could play. Deshaun Watson is not going to play for the Cleveland Browns. Okay. They're not going to play. He's not going to play for the Cleveland Browns unless Shedeur goes down, unless Bailey Zappi goes down. He's not playing for the Cleveland Browns ever again. If he does, as my man El Trey says on 3 the Hard Way, it's fluid. I'll eat my words, but I just don't see the Browns throwing Deshaun Watson to the wolves like that. Not after tearing his shoulder and then 2 ACL surgeries. That would be the Cleveland Browns. Okay. So looking at this matchup, of course, Lamar Jackson is back. The Browns defense plays well against Lamar Jackson. Myles Garrett has career days when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens. However, they're only going to be able to hold the dam so long because this offense is so inept. This offense is so putrid. Okay. The special teams is terrible as well. So if you don't have all 3 facets of the game going at once, you're not going to win. And I know people come on here, you're not a true Browns fan. Listen, I am. But I'm also a realist, okay? That's one thing that I don't think people understand. I'm also a realist when it comes to these Cleveland Browns. I'm not going to sit up here. I made a statement on 3 the Hard Way. I said they were going to win 10 games. That was the dumbest thing I ever said. But I said it because it was based off the personnel and potential. That's what it was. It was based off of personnel and potential, okay? I did not take in consideration ineptitude from the coaching staff. Okay. And it's not all the Browns coaches. I like Deuce Staley. You understand what I'm saying? I like our linebackers coach because if JOK, shout out to JOK, hopefully you're recovering. If JOK can come back and be healthy, him and Carson Schlesinger that is a dynamic duo, bro. And if Devin Bush continues to play the way that he's playing, that's you find yourself some linebackers. Okay. So, but Bubba Ventrone should not be around. I can honestly say Kevin Stefanski should not be around. And for those that, well, what do you expect? You expected them not to be good. No, I expected them to compete. Jason Lloyd says that from The Athletic. And as much as I like Jason Lloyd, I disagree with that statement. What do you expect? I expect for you to put a product out there that's going to compete every year. I expect for you to put a product out there that's going to win games. I expect for you to put a product out there and not have us thinking that we're watching a junior high school football team. That's what I expect, okay? If they fall short, fine. But if you fall short because the team is better than you, I can accept that. But if you fall short because you've had all week to practice, all week to put a game plan together, and you go out there and you constantly shoot yourself in the foot with a 12 gauge, No. And then you get on the podium and you make the same excuses over and over and over. Nobody wants to hear that anymore in Cleveland. Nobody. And I was asked by my brothers on 3 the Hard Way. Like I said, shout out to the captain, Terrence Austin, and my man Lionel Jones, L Train. Shout out to my brothers. Talked about Myles Garrett. Well, we feel bad for Myles Garrett. I don't feel bad for Myles Garrett. I don't feel one bit of trepidation or angst or upset when it comes to Myles Garrett. I have no empathy or sympathy for Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett was the same dude, that same guy who was on press row during the Super Bowl talking about how much trash and how much garbage the Browns organization was, and he just needed a break. He needed to get to another place. Okay? I saw that. Everybody saw that. But guess what, y'all? He got 40 reasons, 40 million reasons to change his mind. And he took it. So I don't feel bad for Myles Garrett whatsoever. He is not a leader. He has not been a leader. This is the only time I don't agree with Garrett Bush. G. Bush, shout out to G. Bush. He said, I don't need Myles Garrett to be a leader. I just need him to continue to perform like he has on the football field. Myles Garrett went for 5 sacks against the New England Patriots, and the door still got blown off of you. Okay? Myles Garrett is the highest paid player on the field. He's one of the highest paid players in the NFL. He has a voice. Use it. What they going to do? The worst case scenario, they're going to trade him. And they're not going to do that. But you got to let the fans of Cleveland know that you're just as upset as everybody else. But I don't feel bad for him. You signed up for that. You thought by signing that $40 million contract that was going to make them less garbage? No, wasn't. And it didn't. So, no, I don't feel bad. I feel bad for Isaiah McGuire. You know, Mason Graham, who comes from that team up north, but who's trying to win. You know what I'm saying? Schlesinger, Devin Butt, Denzel Ward of all people. I feel bad for Denzel Ward because Denzel Ward is tired of going out here doing the same stuff. But when you $40 million, when you got that type of money now, and that organization is paying you, that means you got some kind of stroke, and you ain't using it because they still putting this crappy product out on the field. And you got to stand in front of the press, and you got to answer for losing to the New York freaking Jets. You understand? Justin Fields, shout out. He's a Buckeye. I'm going to shout out, but he looked terrible. 55 yards. Are you kidding? 2 special teams, 1 return, punt return, and 1 kickoff return. Bubba Ventrone, why is he still around? Come on, man. You can get somebody off the high school sidelines and call special teams. Like, seriously. When you got to put starting players on your special teams is bad. Okay? So, yes, they play the Baltimore Ravens. Am I making a prediction? No. Because right now, I'd rather watch paint dry than watch the Cleveland Browns right now. And I am a true Cleveland fan. I am. But I'm fed up with the excuses. I'm fed up with watching the bad football. I'm fed up with listening to the press conferences and hearing the same old yada yada every single week. Every single week. There's no sense in going into matchups. Because here's what's going to happen. The Browns defense is going to play lights out for 2.5 quarters. And then at that point, because the Browns offense can't move, the floodgates are going to open. That's what's going to happen. So you ask the question, Coach, if you fire Stefanski today, who would you replace him with? Jim Schwartz. I still keep Tommy Rees as the offensive coordinator. I would just put Jim Schwartz at the helm. That's what I would do as the interim head coach. and then give Jim Schwartz the option to interview for the job or to remain the defensive coordinator for the new coach that's coming in. We don't have time for this anymore. And y'all miss me with this Kevin Stefanski that won 2 Coach of the Year. And listen, I said this before, I say this again. I'm like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately? And he's done nothing. But sit there and say, we have to get better as a team. We have to get better as a coaching staff. Or we've got to do better. Tell me y'all tired of hearing that. One of these days I'm gonna be able to put a clip on here, and I'm gonna show you all of Kevin Stefanski's press conferences, and you'll hear the same thing over and over and over. And when I get to my coach's rant, I'm gonna let y'all know how I feel about all of that. Okay, so I see the same thing happening. Yes, the Browns defense will hold as much as possible, but by the middle of the third quarter, Lamar Jackson's going to get off. They're going to figure things out, and they're going to throw the ball around. Okay, and I hope I'm wrong, but the sample size of what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, I'm not, and I'm willing to say that I'm wrong, but I don't believe that. This organization is toxic. Did y'all hear what I said? This organization is toxic from the top down. And the reason that you know this organization is toxic is because Paul D. Podesta left the Browns to go to Colorado, to the Rockies, who is another dysfunctional organization. That tells you how bad he wanted out of Cleveland. I don't give a dog that everybody talking about he's a baseball guy. Now, he did have a press conference. He said when he first came into Cleveland, he didn't know anything about football. Wow. But Jimmy Haslam hired him. And that's why I said Jimmy Haslam's he's not off the hook with all of this. Jimmy Haslam, like I said, is a Temu version of Jerry Jones. He feels that if he throws money at things, that it'll disappear. Or he can fix problems with throwing money at it. This organization is toxic. And it needs to be cleaned up and cleaned out. It does. It's just toxic. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry has made this atmosphere a toxic atmosphere. And as a Browns fan, it is upsetting. And the reason I say it is upsetting is because all the fans of Cleveland, all they want is a winner. It's all they want. They just want a football team that can win, other than Ohio State. They want their pro football team to win. And I said this on 3 the Hard Way. Like I said, if you have not subscribed to 3 the Hard Way, go to YouTube and type in 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast. Go ahead and like it. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead and comment on it, okay? You know, it's a toxic organization. That's what the Browns are. Okay. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski has made this organization toxic. And like I said, as a Browns fan, all I want to do is win. Okay. Let me take 1 second to acknowledge one of the Browns greats, Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar is fighting. He needs a liver transplant, and I've seen the reports that he's been having surgeries. My prayers and thoughts go out to Bernie Kosar. Bernie, I watched Bernie as a kid when he came out of the University of Miami. And he was the first person that I ever saw that said, I don't want to play anywhere else. I want to play in Cleveland. Of course, he's from Boardman, Ohio. And, you know, he said, I want to play in Cleveland. And those years with Bernie were some of the most exciting years because Bernie Kosar. Now, see, when they talk about Dylan Gabriel being a supercomputer, I laugh at that. A supercomputer was Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar was a supercomputer because he could dissect a defense at the line of scrimmage like nobody else. And if you blitzed him, you got burned because he knew. I don't care that he couldn't move, that he wasn't the most fleetest of foot. It didn't matter. Bernie Kosar was a winner. Okay. So shout out to Bernie Kosar. You know, my prayers. Hopefully you will receive the liver transplant that you need, because there's still a lot of people who care for you, a lot of Browns fans who care for you. So I want to take that moment. I also want to send a shout out to Joe Thomas. I know Joe Thomas is dealing with cancer diagnosis, and we pray for a speedy recovery, and we pray for healing for Joe Thomas, another Hall of Famer. Well, Bernie should be a Hall of Famer. And so, you know, shout out to those Browns greats. We hope for your healing and a speedy recovery. Okay. But yeah, back to these Browns. Yeah, they're a toxic organization. And that's the only way you can say it. And I also said this, like I said, on 3 the Hard Way. The Cleveland Browns are quietly tanking. And I know all the pundits in Cleveland, oh no, they're not tanking, they're trying to win. Bull. Not trying to win. They're tanking. But they're trying to do it so that the NFL won't come down on them. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Where the New York Jets are tanking. They're tanking. That's exactly what the Jets are doing. And the league knows it. When you trade your 2 best defenders the week before a game, you're tanking. The Browns are silently tanking. Now, are they cap strapped? Yeah. But didn't nobody tell you to sign Deshaun Watson for $250 million guaranteed dollars? Nobody tell you to do that. You did that. And Paul DePodesta would not accept responsibility. He said it was a team responsibility. And yes, Jimmy Haslam came out and said he made that mistake. He said it twice. And that's okay. Okay. But I also believe that a lot of it is not on Deshaun Watson. When you look at how this offense of Kevin Stefanski is operating, you really start to think, was it all Deshaun Watson's fault? Okay. So I will be tuned into my TV tomorrow to watch the game. And of course, I will give you my total reaction on 3 the Hard Way. So I'm going to make y'all go to 3 the Hard Way. You'll get my reaction on 3 the Hard Way, you know, on Monday. You know, like I said, my man, Lionel Jones, L Train, and Terrence Austin, the captain. We will break that down like a fraction. So be on the lookout for that. Next up, your Cleveland Cavaliers. So the other night they played the Miami Heat, and the bench bunch went berserk. Craig Porter Jr. was outstanding. Tyrese Proctor, outstanding. Thomas Bryant, outstanding. Luke Travers, outstanding. Naquan Tomlin played a little iffy in Miami, but he played well. And then you had Jared Allen go for 30 and 10. Fast forward, when they played Toronto. Toronto has played them twice and beat them twice, doing the same thing. And Toronto is not a good team. They're not. I don't want anybody to say that they were a good team. They're not a good team. Toronto, if Toronto wins 50 games, I'll be shocked. They're not a good basketball team. Okay. Even with Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, they're not a good team. Okay. Basketball wise. But my disappointment loomed when they played against Toronto. I've said this once, and I will say it again. Evan Mobley, if you guys are waiting on some type of Kevin Garnett, Pau Gasol, you know, Anthony Davis, healthy Anthony Davis type of explosion, you're not going to get that from him. When will people understand that Evan Mobley is who he is? He's a 20-point, 8 rebound, 2 block kind of guy. And I'm being light on the 20. Okay? Evan Mobley does not have the mentality to be that guy. I hope I am wrong. but I've seen basketball for 30 plus years. I've coached it and I've watched the NBA for 30 plus years. And I'm saying this right now, Evan Mobley does not have the mentality to be that dude. You can tailor make an offense around him. You can do, talk to him as Donovan Mitchell has been doing. Evan Mobley does not have the mentality to be that dude. Now, no disrespect to him as a person. I heard he's a very nice young man, very personable. Well, not the biggest talker in the world, and I get that. But when you're in between those lines and you're on that floor and you have the skill set that he has at 7 feet tall, you have to make people pay. Evan Mobley does not have that mentality. He doesn't. If you put Donovan Mitchell's mindset into Evan Mobley, now we talking. Because Donovan Mitchell plays bigger than 6'1", 6'2". But he has it. He has that mentality. Evan Mobley does not have that mentality. And I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand that he doesn't have that mentality. Because neither does Jared Allen. Neither does Jared Allen. Jared Allen's a nice guy. He doesn't have that mentality. That's why teams in the Eastern Conference are not afraid of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they think mentally they are soft. And the Toronto Raptors showed it. Evan Mobley had 7 shots in 30 minutes. Did you hear me? 7 shots in 30 minutes. That's not your go-to guy. That's not that dog. He was a jag. Just another guy. That's all he was. He was just another guy. No Jared Allen. Jared Allen was non-existent. But here, I'm gonna say this. People believe that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley cannot coexist at the same time. And now I see why. I agree. Because when Evan Mobley is on the floor, they don't look at Jared Allen. They look at Evan Mobley. The reason that Jared Allen went 30-10 against Miami is because he was the main center. He had ancillary pieces around him. Jared Allen doesn't mind making a pass. He passes the ball. But he was the focal point. They were putting him in his element, which was pick and roll. He had occasional post-ups, okay? Jared Allen and Evan Mobley cannot play on the floor at the same time. Now, I understand why Kenny is reluctant not to do it, because Evan Mobley doesn't want to play the 5. But what Evan Mobley does not understand is that if he plays the 5, he actually will be better playing the 5, because other than Embiid and Jokic, there's not another 5 out there that can handle, maybe Wembanyama, but there's not another 5 out there that can handle it if he plays his game. And imagine Jared Allen coming off the bench with that second unit, that Craig Porter Jr., that Tyrese Proctor, okay? Those guys. He's the leader. And I need y'all to miss me with this. Well, they really miss Darius Garland. No, they don't. Tyrese Proctor and Craig Porter Jr. are very serviceable. Now, are they Darius Garland? No, I'm not saying they're Darius Garland, but they are good backups to what DG brings to the table. Here's another problem. And I know Kenny Atkinson has talked about this. These dudes are jacking up too many threes. There's an old saying that I have. You have shooters and you have makers. Okay? Steph Curry is a maker. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Steph Curry is a maker. Draymond Green is a shooter. See the difference? And no disrespect to Draymond at all, because defensively, Draymond is that guy. facilitator, Draymond is that dude. I don't care what people think about Draymond personally. I love his game. Even though when he played against the Cavs, I didn't like him at that time. I respected him, and I still respect him, and I respect his game. But if I need a bucket with 3 seconds left on the clock and I have a choice to go between Draymond Green and Steph Curry, even Draymond Green will say, pass it to Steph. And there's no disrespect to his game. He'll pass it to Steph because Steph is a maker. And that's what I said when it comes to Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is a shooter. He's not a maker. Y'all looking for Evan Mobley to go 4 for 5 from the three-point land. That will happen very rare with him. Okay. Now, Kenny Atkinson has forgotten more basketball than I'll ever remember. But to me, the best way to use Evan Mobley is at the high post. And what I mean by the high post is that is the free throw line extended out. And let him decide what he's going to do. Because what does that do? It puts defenses in a conundrum. If they're playing a zone, now you have Evan Mobley in the middle of your zone. You hit Evan Mobley in the middle of your zone, he can either pass to a shooter that you have outside, whether it's Darius, Donovan, Sam Merrill. Now you've made him unguardable. Because any center that comes out on Evan Mobley can dominate him from the high post. Joel Embiid doesn't want to come from under the basket. Neither does Nikola Jokic. He doesn't want to come from up under the basket. So now he becomes a threat. Evan Mobley standing out at the three-point line, they're going to give him his first shot. If he makes his first two, then they're going to come out and guard him. If he doesn't, they're going to let him go out there and shoot. And Evan Mobley doesn't seem to understand when you don't hit your first three, you don't keep shooting them. You go down on the box, you get fouled, you get to the free throw line. So I understand what Kenny Atkinson is doing. Kenny Atkinson is basically practicing during the season right now. Nobody cares that they won 64, 65 games last year. Nobody cares about that now. Kenny Atkinson is just trying to get his guys healthy and get them going. Now, back to the game in Toronto. There was too much one-on-one ball. There was no ball movement. It was a Donovan Mitchell show. And then then we were lost at that point. People holding the ball, DeAndre Hunter doing his Marcus Haynes impersonation, just there one-on-one, not passing the ball, everybody trying to go one-on-one. The Cleveland Cavaliers' strength is ball movement and man movement. And you can't tell me because Darius is not out there and Max Strus is not out there that it's that bad. It's not. Okay. Just because you don't have Ty Jerome, it's not bad like that. Okay. I just think that Kenny Atkinson is working these combinations to try to see what's what as he's going through. He knows that they're going to win the Eastern Conference. He knows that. He knows that when they're clicking on all cylinders, that the Cleveland Cavaliers will win the Eastern Conference. Okay. But right now, these guys are learning how to play with one another. Lonzo Ball can't play in back-to-backs because they're saving Lonzo Ball for the playoffs. I get it. I understand it. Darius Garland, they brought him back too soon. Sit DG down. By the time Max Strus comes back, everybody should be healthy. And then it'll take another week to 10 days for these guys to relearn one another, and then they're going to roll. Cavs will win 55, 60 games. Okay? They will. But right now, is this team playing right now? And I know Jason Lloyd of The Athletic and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show said if Evan Mobley is not that guy, the Cavs won't get to the championship. I strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. If Evan Mobley can give you 18 to 20 a night in the playoffs and can get you 8 rebounds, everybody else out there is going to hold their weight. The Cavaliers will win convincingly. I don't think you got to have Evan Mobley giving you 25 and 15. It'd be nice, but he's not built like that, y'all. He's not built that way. And until y'all realize that Evan Mobley is not built that way, y'all are going to constantly be disappointed. His inconsistency, okay? Every night, he'll go for 20 in one night, and then, like I said, 6 shots, 7 shots the other night. It's the inconsistency, okay? That's where I'm having issues with, is the inconsistency from Evan Mobley. Okay. So the Cavaliers, I think they play tonight. I don't know who they play tonight. I haven't looked at my schedule, but they got a game tonight. So what am I looking for tonight? What is Coach Young looking for tonight? I'm looking for ball movement, man movement. I'm looking for more communication on defense. I'm looking for Kenny Atkinson to go ahead and let these young Bulls run. Let them go. Let them go. Okay. Oh, T-Money coming in. Nah, you ain't missed nothing, man. We were just talking about the Cleveland Browns. Was just touching on the Cleveland Browns playing the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to that at all, because they're going to be throwing Dillon Gabriel back out there. I didn't make any predictions. All I said was this, and I'll reiterate what I'm saying. The Browns defense is going to hold Baltimore 2.5 quarters, and then the Browns are going to become the Browns because they can't move the football. They can't. Now, the defense plays pretty well when it comes to Lamar Jackson. They're going to play pretty good defense, but the dam's going to break sometime with the middle third quarter. And I'm just being realistic. I know a lot of folks, when they hear me, they like, oh, well, he's not a real Browns fan. Yeah, I actually am. But I'm a realistic Browns fan. I'm going to always be realistic. You say, how bad will we get beat tomorrow? Like I said, I'm not doing any predictions. I mean, Baltimore could put up a 30-piece real easy because the Browns offense cannot move the football. And John Harbaugh is going to stack the box so that Quinshon Judkins can't get off. And when it gets to a point of Dillon Gabriel, I'll put it like this. Teams who play the Browns, they're reading a book called Cleveland Browns Offense for Dummies. Because that's how Kevin Stefanski calls, and Tommy Rees, that's how they're calling the offense, as if they've never called an offensive play before. Okay. But before you came in, T, and then this is my man Terrence Austin. He's 1/3 of Three the Hard Way. This is my brother. Like I said, tune in on Monday. We generally have our stuff up, him and my brother L Train. We're going to break this game down. I know we're going to break this game down when we get an opportunity. But I was talking about the Cavs, and I was finishing, my thought process when it came to Evan Mobley. And I'm going to stand on it. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am just so wrong. But Evan Mobley does not have the mentality to be that dude. And people around Cleveland and people in the media are just waiting for Evan Mobley just to turn into the second coming of KG or Tim Duncan. He's not. That's not his mental. That's not how he processes. That's not how he plays. Evan Mobley falls in love with the three-point shot because he believes that that's the shot he can shoot. And like I said, he is a shooter. He's not a maker. Okay, Sam Merrill is a maker. Donovan Mitchell is a maker. Okay, Max Strus is a maker. Darius Garland is a maker. Tyrese Proctor, he's a rookie, but he's going to end up being a maker. Okay, Evan Mobley is not a maker. Okay, Him and Dean Wade are shooters. They're not makers. Because Dean Wade at 6'11 can't hit the broadside of a barn. He's a waste if he can't score. You gave up on Isaac Okoro, and I get it. But when is enough of that? When is enough of Dean Wade? When is that going to become enough? I'm tired of watching Dean Wade go out and shoot 2 for 8. Like, stop it. I have more confidence in Tyrese Proctor and more confidence in Craig Porter Jr. than I do Dean Wade. I just do, because these guys are pit bulls. They going out there and they playing. Okay? If Jared Allen does not show up, why not put Thomas Bryant on the floor? He's going to bring you energy. That's what this team lacks, and that's why Toronto beat them, because they had no energy. I understand they were playing the back end of a back-to-back. I get it, and I'm not trying to be unsympathetic about that. Okay? You got to be able to make the adjustment, and that's a Kenny Atkinson issue. Okay? Right. There's a lot of lapses on defense. A lot. Okay? There was a lot of lapses on defense. Let me do this. Can I do this? It says show on the stream. Oh, come on, man. That's awesome. I hear you loud and clear. I watched the second half of them 2 nights ago versus Toronto and witnessed too many lapses on defense. Absolutely. Thanks, T. You got me finding out I got a new feature here. Yes. It was too much. It was too much. Okay. And I also was talking, like I said, I was talking about, I don't believe that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can be on the floor together. Here's why. When Jared Allen went for 30 and 10 against Miami, it was Jared Allen, Tyrese Proctor, Craig Porter Jr. You had the G League guys out there with Jared Allen, and they put Jared Allen in positions to be able to score. They knew Jared Allen was the only big out there. When Jared Allen is out there with Evan Mobley, because they're spending so much time trying to get Evan Mobley off, they're ignoring Jared Allen. So what's the easy fix for this? Stop putting them on the floor together. Okay? I know Larry Nance Jr. is not shooting well. He's been hurt. I get it. And I've heard through the grapevine that Evan Mobley is not a fan of the 5. Do I look like I care? Because he doesn't understand if he plays the 5, he's going to be one of the top players in the league. Because other than Jokic, Embiid, and Wembanyama, there ain't a 5 out there that can guard him. Period. And if you're truly the defensive player of the year, then you should play the 5, because that's going to get you against bigger dudes. Okay? And the worst case scenario, if you put him in the high post, free throw line extended, okay? Let me throw this on here. All right, T, let me see this here. Would you consider trading Allen? Would you consider trading Allen come trade deadline for a wing defender or shooter? Okay, so let me share this. There has been some rumblings that the Cleveland Cavaliers have been talking to the Dallas Mavericks for Anthony Davis. Now, of course, because the Cavaliers are in the second tier of the salary window, you can only trade salary for salary. So the only other salary other than Evan Mobley that would match, or Donovan Mitchell that would match Anthony Davis, is Jared Allen. Here's why I wouldn't do it. Anthony Davis is Mr. Glass. If you ever saw that movie that Samuel L. Jackson played in, he's Mr. Glass. He can't stay healthy for no reason. He can't stay healthy. I believe the easy fix for the Cavaliers is not to play Jared Allen on the floor with Evan Mobley. You can go when DG comes back. You got DG, Donovan. If you can go Hunter or Strus, which I think when Strus comes back, I think Hunter moves back to the bench because Hunter is a one-on-one guy. I already see that right now. Hunter doesn't understand team concept. He wants to get his off. So you can go, or if you go Hunter, you can go Hunter, and then you can take either Wade or trying to think. You got to put somebody else at the 4, and then you can put Evan at the 5. Okay. Then you can put Evan Mobley at the 5. Okay. Evan Mobley doesn't want to play the 5, but that's because he doesn't want to guard 5s. But the only time that I wouldn't have Evan Mobley guard a 5 is if it was Embiid, the bigger centers, Embiid, Jokic. You know, he plays well against Wembanyama. Okay. He does play well against Wemby. But Evan Mobley would be high post, and he would be that Draymond Green. Because if you surround him full of shooters, he's a willing passer. Okay. I think now it's just too congested down there on the box. Because you got Jarrett down there and you got Evan out there. I think you got to remove one or the other. And I think it's Jared Allen. But I think you put Jared Allen with that second unit. If you put Jared Allen with that second unit, there's not too many second unit centers that can guard Jared Allen. Period. And Jared Allen is a humble enough guy. He'll take that. He's still getting paid $100 million. It's not about egos. It's about winning basketball games. So I'm going to put Jared Allen on that second unit. And guess what? Jared Allen is going to average 25 and 10 off the bench because there's not going to be anybody off the bench that can guard him. Period. And it's going to make the younger guys better because he's going to be able to lead that second unit. Okay. So, yeah, the Cavs play tonight. I'm gonna take a watch and see, how that goes. Buckeyes are going to be playing. Matter of fact, they should be playing real soon. They have, I think it's UCLA tonight. Ohio State has UCLA tonight. They are at UCLA, so I'm very anxious to see the Buckeyes on the road. Can they stay undefeated? Will Jeremiah Smith be Jeremiah Smith again? Will Carnell Tate play today? I'm anxious to see how Ohio State goes because UCLA is not a bad team. Okay. And then they're coming out west. So we'll see time difference and everything. But I got the Buckeyes beating UCLA and remaining undefeated. So here's the part of the program that I am going to call the coach's take. All right. And listen, let me take a moment. If you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay. And go ahead and share this out to people. And if you are not subscribed to 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast, I don't know what y'all waiting on because this train is rolling. 3 the Hard Way is getting popular, y'all. Y'all better get on this thing. I'm telling y'all right now. Me, there's the captain. He's already here checking up on the young fella. I get that and I appreciate that. But y'all got to go ahead and get on to 3 the Hard Way. We got a lot of people who have subscribed, but we ain't got enough. All right. I want you guys to go ahead. So what do? You go to 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast and go ahead and get your subscription. Go ahead, check out some of our older episodes, and then you can look at our newer ones. All right. We got another one coming down the line real fast, hot and heavy. All right. All right. So before I get out of here, I'm going to give you my coach's take. This is a segment that I'm going to do just about all the time on the Locker Room. So the question that I want to ask is this. Okay. Real quick. Let me put that up. So the captain asked, only concern tonight for the Buckeyes is the rain and the wet field and the possible injuries. Listen, when you the number one team in the nation, you know, you're gonna have to deal with inclement weather. You're gonna have to deal with, you know, certain things like that. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. So my coach's take is this. Does Kevin Stefanski care about what the fan base of Cleveland feel or think? Does the organization care about what the fan base feels or thinks? Now, of course, everybody, because they've seen the product out here, says no. Okay. They say they don't care. But I want to talk about Stefanski. Stefanski can give a rat's rip what you guys think. Want to know why? And even the Cleveland media. The reason that he does not care is because there's a strong possibility that he will remain the head coach of the Cleveland Browns next year. As much as everybody wants him gone, there is a strong possibility of Kevin Stefanski coming back to the Cleveland Browns next year. Now, do I think there are going to be some personnel changes within the organization? Absolutely. I think Jimmy Haslam will ask that, like somebody like Bubba Ventrone, to be released, to somebody's got to go to appease the Browns fans. Okay. They got to get rid of somebody. Okay. And I think that somebody will be Bubba Ventrone. So T says, I don't think the coach cares. However, Andrew D and Jimmy Haslam do. I could give you a little pushback on that, Cap. Simply because of this. The Browns this week has dropped their ticket prices to $6 a seat. $6. Okay. Now, let me give you my opinion on why they dropped it to $6. Because no one in their right mind is going to spend 30 to excess of over $100 on that crap that they're throwing on the field. They're not going to spend their hard-earned money. You got to remember, these people live in Cleveland. And let me break this down to you. There's some hard-working people in Cleveland, Ohio. You understand? They love their football. They love their Browns. They'll spend whatever they need to spend on a winning product. They're not going to spend their money on this trash. So what does the Browns do? They knew they weren't going to spend no money on this trash. Well, we'll just drop our prices to $6 a seat. I still wouldn't buy that garbage. I'd rather watch mosquitoes mate. I ain't got time to sit up there and watch the Browns constantly send the midget leprechaun from Oregon amongst the geriatric group from the Walking Dead, okay, throwing them somewhere, okay. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that at all, okay? But does Kevin Stefanski care? No, he doesn't. If you look at all of his press conferences, he says the same doggone thing every freaking time. But why does he do that? He does that because in his mind, he's been reassured that he'll be back next year. There's no other way. There's no desperation. Okay? There's no desperation. Okay? But I'm tired of the same old. Everybody knows that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, but anticipating a different results. The Browns have been doing and living a life of insanity since 1999. Since 1999. Okay? They've had a couple of winning seasons, but they've pretty much been in purgatory and losing since 1999. Okay? I watch the Browns today because it's my job. Because I want to be on 3 the Hard Way, and I don't want to sound uneducated. I want to be able to watch football and be able to share the insides and outs of my childhood team, my favorite team, which is the Cleveland Browns. But I said earlier, this organization is toxic. Toxic. Okay? There is a level of toxicity in this organization that has not left. Now, we know the Haslams aren't going anywhere. As much as y'all want to whine and cry, they're not going anywhere. Andrew Berry might have saved his job because of this rookie class. Maybe. But do you have confidence that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski is going to make the right call for the next quarterback on this team? Do you have belief in this coaching staff? I don't. Because if that be the case, then Shedeur Sanders. Now, let me get into Shedeur. Shedeur Sanders hopefully will see the field. Now, is anything going to change? No. And we said this on 3 the Hard Way. I'm going to keep mentioning that because my brothers is always ahead of the game. Do I really want to see Shedeur Sanders behind this geriatric offensive line, behind these wide receivers that should be putting pickles on somebody's burgers at Burger King or Carl's Jr.? I got a fat tight end in David Njoku, and I got a rookie tight end in Harold Fannin Jr. And I got a stud, Quinshon Judkins, in the back who's running behind a bunch of dudes who are walking with walkers. But you're asking them to block somebody. Oh, and Cedric Tillman's back. Did you notice? No, you didn't. Because Cedric Tillman is just as bad. Okay? Tell me the difference between Cedric Tillman and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'll wait. Thank you. There's no difference. They're the same individual. And Donovan Peoples-Jones is not even in the league anymore. So, yes, coaches take. Kevin Stefanski can care less what you think because Kevin Stefanski has been told that he will be back next year. Now, remember, as my man L Train always says, everything is fluid. So it could change at the end of the season because you're not going to get rid of a coach middle of the season. Okay? But I can name 5 different things that I could be doing other than watching the Browns. I could be watching an I Love Lucy marathon. That's entertaining. Maybe the Jeffersons. You know? How about All in the Family? I could be watching some classic stuff, but I got to sit up and watch this train wreck on offense called the Cleveland Browns. And guess what, y'all? I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to come back and tell you guys about it. Okay? That is my rant, y'all. That is all I have today. All right? Listen, once again, if you have not subscribed to the Locker Room, I don't know what y'all waiting on. Come on now. It's about to get better. I'm learning this technological stuff, y'all. I'm going to actually be putting clips on here soon. Trust and believe. That's coming. We're going to have a good time doing this. You know, so please share the Locker Room with 2 or 3 people. Let them know that Coach Young is going to be on here, try to be on here every Saturday. Okay, I'm trying to be on here and get things done. And then tune into 3 the Hard Way on YouTube. If you don't know how to get there, go type in 3 the Hard Way Sports Podcast on YouTube, and you will see the captain, you will see L Train, and you'll see my ugly mug. All right. And all we do is talk about Cleveland sports. But when you come to the Locker Room, that's exactly what I'm doing. I ain't got no problem in talking about Cleveland sports. And like I said, People want to question my fandom. I dare you. I double dog dare you. You can't question my fandom. Okay. I went through it all. All right. I went through it all. Okay. So listen, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get myself ready to watch Ohio State beat up on UCLA. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday evening. Please enjoy your Sunday. Like I said, say a prayer for Bernie Kosar. Say a prayer for Joe Thomas. Say a prayer for our troops. Say a prayer for, our families. Say a prayer for this nation. You know what I mean? Because we all need it. Okay. And like I always say, love on somebody. Tell somebody that you love them. Don't always assume that they know.
To all the fallen
See
soldiers.
you guys later. All right. Enjoy your Saturday.
All my people. No matter where you at, man, straight this was for you. I feel the pain from so many mothers crying, cause every single day I see another brother die. It don't make sense. Somebody make it make sense. And all the fathers trapped inside a living hell, cause ain't nothing nice seeing your son inside a cell. It don't make sense. So please make it make sense. Our neighborhoods ain't the same, it's a shame. It used to be love, but now we curse with all this pain. What happened to the days we would party at the park, reminiscing, drinking liquor, barbecuing after dark. Dice game going 6, 8, and 9, 5. Everybody outside, we just glad to be alive. But now it's homicide and murder rates are getting worse. And mama heart hurts, she was shopping for a